On today's episode of Setting the Pace, Facci and I are going to be breaking down the Pacers' 124-108 preseason loss to the San Antonio Spurs. Benn Mathurin was on fire for 31 points on 11 of 12 shooting. Jarace Walker had some nice moments. Pascal Siakam and the starters look pretty good, but there's a lot of questions about the backup point guard spot, the center spot. So much to talk about on today's episode of Setting the Pace.
This is Tyrese Troll-iburton, and you're listening to Setting the Pace.
What is up, Pacer Nation? Welcome back to another episode here of your go-to Pacers podcast, Setting the Pace. And we're going to be talking all things preseason action tonight. Joining me is the one and only Michael J. Facci. Facci, the Pacers fall 124-108. Some good, some bad, but overall, what did you like about this game compared to maybe some other previous preseason games?
Benn Mathurin. In my opinion, I think he would have been, if this was a regular season game, chasing a 50-point performance. I really feel like he was on his way. He couldn't miss. I know in the game, technically, he did miss one shot, 11 of 12, but at halftime, he had 27 points. And it's like he could do no wrong. And I think he showed that by the last shot right before halftime, what looked like it would have been kind of a heave, a chuck, something where it's like, do you want that for the field goal percentage? It was something that he just nailed it, loved it. It was that kind of night for Mathurin.
Oh, yeah, Mathurin did not care where he was on the floor. He was pulling that thing up. But honestly, let's talk about this because, a lot of times we'll say it's not about shots, it's not about points, it's about doing this and doing that. But I thought Rick Carlisle even mentioned it tonight in the post-game press conference. He took the right shots. Nothing felt forced. And when asked about maybe trying to get him the ball a little bit more, Andrew Nembhard, the point guard of this team, Andrew said, look, we're not going to try to force feed somebody the basketball just because they got it going. We take shots in the flow of our offense, and that is why this Pacers team is so special. They don't just seek out guys that are on fire and say, hey, let's just keep going to him. No, let's play within the flow of our offense because we know defenses are going to adjust and things like that. But Mathurin, to me, just looked calm, cool, and collected out there. Like, he was just very, very, very poised, and we know he's a great scorer. But, I don't think he ended up with an assist at the end of the day, but maybe he had one. He did have one.
He got one. Classic okay. Mathurin. We had one last time as well. It's better than none.
Well, we don't have stats for potential assists, but I know he did have a nice drive at least where he did have a nice dump off past Obi Toppin. I think Obi Toppin got fouled. So it's just little things like that. You're starting to see him make those right reads as well, and they're quick decisions. But in addition to that, just the scoring. So I just felt like we had to start with Benn Mathurin tonight. He was way too special in what he was doing on both ends of the floor. Now, look, we can get into some negative stuff here in a little bit, but I just think that when you're looking at a guy that's in a contract year, I know this is only preseason, but for him to play like this in the preseason, this dude looked locked in, and I'm pretty sure he didn't like hearing about Victor Wembanyama on the court, and I think Mathurin wanted to say, you know what, there's going to be a lot of people watching Wemby, but you didn't realize you were here for the Mathurin show.
And that it was a show, and when you talk about quick decisions and maybe even bring up passing a little bit, he had a time where he was on a fast break. He was going to the hoop. He fakes the pass. The defender absolutely bid on it, and Mathurin was able to lay it in. And I just felt like that was a quick decision. That was the right decision. So Mathurin, fantastic game. Yeah, I really do think that it's times like these where you go, these type of players just don't grow on trees. He's a special player that I really feel like is going to have some special performances throughout this year. So loved what I saw from Mathurin. We saw the starters play, into the third quarter. Didn't see any of them play in the fourth quarter. I think that was the right move. We kind of wondered how they would go about this game in general. I thought, hey, look, knock on wood, everybody escaped this game.
You said that 3 episodes in a row now. Knock on wood. Knock on wood.
Do. I mean, am I wrong? I mean, look how many players have been hurt.
I'm just saying, you keep making me think of the Taylor Swift song Wood. I think you've been listening to that a little bit too much with your wife.
That's on you because that's not where my head is going.
Oh, please.
Yeah. So I think in this scenario like this, it's always great. This is the first preseason game we've had where someone hasn't left early and been hurt. So
no injuries this game.
That's what I literally just said. So. Yeah. That's what I'm getting across. Why we didn't win in the W column, we won by not having any players get hurt.
Yeah, and speaking of the guys that were hurt in the previous game, Quentin Jackson and Johnny Furphy, when asked about the injuries, Rick Carlisle was quick to say it's just a hamstring and an ankle injury. And finally, after a little bit of pressing, not too much from Tony East, but enough, Rick was like, look, Furphy and Quentin Jackson, they're not playing tonight. They won't play the rest of the preseason. They might be ready for the season opener against Oklahoma City. Said he didn't feel like the injuries were that concerning, but at the end of the day, I just feel like when you're looking at this, when you're looking at this group right here, they desperately need some point guard depth. And we saw Cam Payne get an extended run tonight there in the fourth quarter at times. We actually saw no point guards on the floor when they gave Cam Payne a break. And it was Jarace Walker running the point guard for this team. So I'm just telling you, when you have 6 point guards coming into the camp basically on your roster, and obviously Haliburton doesn't count, so 5, and only 3 of them can play, that is not a great sign. So I'm just saying, like, yes, the injury front, it's not great, but it is an opportunity for these guys to get some chemistry that are a little bit newer to the system, like a guy like Cameron Payne played a little bit better tonight. I definitely think, finally got some baskets into the third quarter. And after he made his first 2 free throws, he threw his hands to the heaven because he finally got a shot to fall for him. Yeah. But, those 3 baskets he ended up making to get himself to 10 points. That was 3 more made baskets than the entire center rotation combined. So it was just... it was just a really weird game from everybody outside of really the starting 5, and I feel like Obi Toppin with that group especially. I didn't think Isaiah Jackson looked great.
No, these are the type of performances like a night like tonight where you have every right to worry about the center spot. Like, this is another game where Isaiah Jackson has been in foul trouble. He had 5 fouls in about 16 minutes of gameplay. That is everything that you hope not to see. He did have a couple steals, but it's 5 fouls in 16 minutes. That is crazy. So he wouldn't be able to really be on the floor long if this was a regular season game. And then you look at the rest of the rotation. I mean, let's take a look at it. Yep, no, it finished that way. Not a single center scored.
Yeah, 0 of 10 from the field. 3 points total.
It did. So they ended up.
Tony Bradley had 3 free throws.
Okay, Tony Bradley. Okay, I was looking at the top 3 main centers. I guess Tony Bradley. Yeah. Tony Bradley did. But that's a problem if you can't have any of your centers make a shot in this game. So it's worrisome. It's not like the centers were rebounding really either. I mean, that's something that is just it's alarming. This type of performance was not encouraging by any means. And I think that we've tried to look on the bright side at times, like in previous games. Hey, Jay Huff, he's getting some blocks. It's great. But at some point, if your centers can't score, that's going to be a problem. And you know what? We hyped it up. Jay Huff, 3-point land. He hasn't hit a 3 in the preseason. Has not hit a 3. So you already know you're not getting that with Isaiah Jackson. We know Tony Bradley might be working on it, and maybe he can ring the bell in practice, whatever. We haven't seen it in an actual game. And then James Wiseman does not have that ability. So
he took one that was a long 2 tonight. It was very funny. As he released it, Tony goes, "Oh no," and Dustin said, "Oh boy." At the same time, it's just you don't want these guys shooting. And let's just be honest here, Facci. I understand that Victor Wembanyama does impact how your centers are going to play offensively. And when he's guarding those centers, sure, it's going to be different. But even when he was off the floor and Luke Cornett was in the game, Luke Cornett looked, light years better than all the centers on the Pacers roster. So that to me is it was not a great showing. And you talk about Jay Huff. It was more like Jay Ruff tonight. He was awful. He was the worst of the 4 centers. I mean, just looked absolutely terrible. And this is where I think that all of us got a little bit too excited when the Pacers traded for Jay Huff, because at the end of the day, this was a 3rd-string center on the Memphis Grizzlies. They were willing to trade away to sign Jock Landale. That should have been a sign to all of us that, hey, maybe he's not as great as we're thinking he is. But even if you listen to so many national podcasts, they were all hyped about Jay Huff in the Pacers system. And look, by game 25, game 30, we might be talking differently about Jay Huff, but after his performance, really the last couple of games, I will be honest with you, I've not been overly impressed. He looked incredibly lost out there. He was the first center off the bench and came in with the starters. But he was the first sub off the bench. Obi Toppin did not come off the bench first. And when he came in with those starters, first play of the game, I think he was spread out to the corner, missed a 3. The very next play, he ran into Pascal Siakam. He just seemed like he did not know where to go on the court and just seemed lost. So that to me is just part of the chemistry of not playing with that group ever. This is his first game action with that group. He's played a lot with the 2nd unit and 3rd-string unit, but not with that 1st unit. So it's just a matter of time, I think, for chemistry for him. But I don't know. I just I'm not excited about any of the centers that we have right now on the roster.
I'm really not. And it's like J Ruff is too easy of a nickname to just have that become a thing. So it's like, I hope it doesn't. But we were tossing out hot takes. I think maybe it was yours that was like, J Huff starts every single game of the regular season. Now it just looks like this is going to be musical chairs, whatever you want to call it, hot potato, anything of the sort. Like anyone it looks like could start on any given night because there's no clear answer here. Like Isaiah Jackson might have been the starter for all of these games, but you can't say he's running away with it by any means. He has not looked good. He really hasn't. And I know he might have been a +6 tonight, but that's because the starters. That's who he was with. Everyone was a plus minus. He was the worst plus minus of the starting 5. So I feel like for Isaiah Jackson, this is not what I want to see. We want to give him the benefit of the doubt of like, hey, James Wiseman still trying to get healthy, but at the same point, it's worrisome. It really is. I think for others, Pascal Siakam, really good second quarter, got it going. He had like 12 of the 17 in the quarter. No worries about Siakam. No worries about an Aaron Nesmith. You know what you're getting there. I thought Andrew Nembhard had a solid type of performance. He had 11 points, 8 assists, 3 turnovers. It's fine. It's whatever. Plus 12. I feel like the Pacers were able to play fast. I feel like for Andrew Nembhard, it's like, okay, we haven't been like wowed, but like how wowed are you supposed to be in the preseason? You're like what Mathurin did tonight, that's warranted of a wow. But come regular season, I think everyone's going to be all right. But that center spot is the one where it's like, I can't just say, oh, we're going to be fine. We really don't know that. We might not be.
Well, and this is where I think we have to maybe just kind of pump the brakes a little bit because I thought the centers at different times have looked better against normal centers. I mean, Wembanyama is like a freak of nature.
Yes.
He changes everything. Like Rick Carlisle couldn't say enough glowing things about him. He was like, I'm glad he's in the West. I'm glad we only have to play him twice. You just watch in disbelief. It's just incredible what he can do. He said it was a great opportunity for our centers to see what a real unicorn looks like. So I'm just saying, like, I'm not trying to like overpraise a guy, but I mean, he's worthy of all the praise that has been given to him because he is like really just he's only like scratching the surface of what he's going to become in this league. I mean, the league might run through San Antonio for like the next decade if things go right for him. I don't love all the other pieces around him totally right now. I mean, De'Aaron Fox is special, but it's just I don't know yet about the Spurs as a team overall, but I do know Wemby's going to be great. But that aside, the center rotation, it's a hodgepodge, and the Pacers can fake it till they make it for a year, but this is why they have to address center spot at some point, whether it's the trade deadline, whether it's in the offseason next year. Unless somebody steps up really big and makes a name for themselves, which they have a chance to do it. I mean, it's maybe too early to say they have to go make a trade, but Isaiah Jackson has been okay throughout the preseason. J Huff has been okay throughout the preseason. James Wiseman was probably better in game 2. Like, I think he had better moments in this game against the Spurs than J Huff did. I think Tony Bradley has had better moments than some of these guys. So it's like you're just getting a lot of okay, but not great. Yeah. And that's a problem. So we've talked about that. We've talked about Benedict Mathurin and Andrew Nembhard. I want to go back to Nembhard really quick because I do think you bring up some good points. Like, he didn't do anything that just wowed you. Mm-hmm. But at the same time, like, he did some really nice things where he got into the paint, made a kick out to the 3. And I will say not just him, but I felt like Campaign did that a few different times too, where he was able to get into the paint. It's just hard when you're not really sure like how the system runs entirely. But Nembhard, I felt like he was pretty comfortable out there. Didn't look like he was forcing too much, had some nice baskets and things like that. So I feel pretty confident that Nembhard's going to have a solid year too. And we'll just see how he develops as more is asked of him. And I think early on in the season, if he can stay healthy, they might be playing him 30-plus minutes because of how bad the point guard rotation is right now.
I think they're going to have to. I just think that's just what's going to have to. Like, there's not another option right now. Like, we mentioned it before. Like, I felt like TJ McConnell was poised for a big year. Now it's like you got to wait and see. You don't want to rush him back. But for the first couple of weeks of the season, yeah, I do think that you have to be giving him 30-plus minutes nightly. It's just we have no other options. And you still got to see even if Campaign's going to make the team. Like, I feel like if he makes the team, it feels like he's making it by default rather than earning the spot. I know, to your point before, he definitely finished the game better. There was a time where, including last game, he was like, first 6 or 7 shots from the field.
I saw your tweet. You said, when is Campaign going to score his next basket?
I was getting worrisome if it was even going to happen. And that's when you mentioned he threw his hands up there because he was even feeling it. So it was good to see him get a couple baskets going in and all that. All right, good. Hopefully you can build on the performance. Pacers have one more preseason game left. Carlisle said he does not know. Maybe Ben Shepherd could be ready for that game. It's not a guarantee. You'd like to see Shep out there even for just a little bit. He said he's progressing well, could potentially play. That was the exact words in the preseason finale. You want to see more campaign. I don't think I really want to see any of the other starters. I really don't. Maybe Isaiah Jackson, gotta get him some minutes in there. But like Pascal Siakam, do you need to see more out of Pascal Siakam right now?
No, here's what I need to see. I need to see those guys with guys that aren't used to playing with them. That's the only thing that I want to see a little bit more of. Like, obviously, like it's not like a surprise to anybody, but like the starters of Nembhard, Nesmith, Siakam, Mathurin, and Toppin were the best 5 of any unit tonight. You know why? They've played together. They went on a playoff run together. They know what each other likes, right?
Nearly
So, like,
won a championship together. Nearly.
Nearly, okay, but we don't want to talk about that. I just want to say, like, when you think about the run they went on, like they definitely know the system and they know each other pretty well, their tendencies. It's going to take time for Andrew Nembhard and J Huff to get those tendencies. Even Isaiah Jackson, like he's been on this team, but he really hasn't played with them. If you think about it, 2 years ago, he was behind Jalen Smith as a third string center. He didn't really play with Siakam. He ended up playing some in the playoffs with Siakam against Boston and New York when he came in for Jalen Smith, but they didn't play that much. He played a lot of his minutes with Shepherd and Toppin and McConnell. So it's not like this is a guy that's constantly coming out. That's had a big run with the guys that are in the starting 5. So to me, it's like with Isaiah Jackson, like, yeah, he's still pretty raw, and Wiseman's not got any real minutes with these guys. He played 6 minutes last year with them. And then Tony Bradley's probably the other center, probably the best option in terms of like familiarity with this group because he played in the finals with them, So I look at this group and I'm just like, man, what are they going to do? But I want to see them have that chemistry. Now, I will say this. Rick Carlisle mentioned it on opening media day in his press conference there. He will not be coaching this game. He will be at his daughter's event in college. So It'll be Lloyd Pierce coaching this game, and I'm sure they'll have a whole game plan played out. But I'm curious to see what kind of moves they do. But Facci, let's go ahead and take a quick commercial break, and we'll come back and wrap this up. All right, Facci, we are back. I want to jump into maybe some of Jarace Walker's play because I felt like we saw some good stuff, some not so great stuff, but we're seeing Jarace learn and process and figure things out.
It's been a little bit of an up and down performance throughout this preseason. We saw game 1, there was far more to be desired. Game 2, I felt like he rebounded the ball well. We saw 7 assists from Jarace, which was awesome. But the turnovers have been there. I wasn't so worried about the shooting display in game 2. He got right back to it, in game 3, going 5 of 10 from the field. But there was 5 turnovers. 5 turnovers. That led all players, I think, in the game. So, yeah, it did. Oh, no, sorry. It led at least the Pacers. Wembanyama had 7 turnovers, but given that it's Wemby, you're not really worried about it. So I think for Jarace Walker, he still has all the potential in the world, but I think consistency is something that we want to see a bit more of. And, he's not going to lose his spot because there's no one there to take it. But I feel like on times you do want to see just a bit more consistency.
Yeah, I thought we saw a really good third quarter from Jarace, and then in the fourth quarter that was just but at the same time, he's out there with Talon Peter, Tony Bradley, Jalen Slauson, and Gabe McLaughlin. You know what I'm saying? So it's like the unit was not great, and it wasn't like it was a group that he's going to play with ever, really, on the court in regular basketball games. So he looked a little gassed at times in that fourth quarter as well, just being tasked to do too much. And then when they put Campaign back in the game, he looked to be like, is it me? It was almost like how could it not be you? You've been terrible this quarter. But also, like, I'm so tired. Please just take me out of the game. And so, like, that's how I felt. But, like, I saw some, like, nice stuff from him at times. And I think Caitlin Cooper has talked about this as well. Like, seeing him kind of in the middle of his zone offense, right? Trying to break down different teams' zones. And that's one thing that she pointed out that I thought was a great point. We're seeing a lot of teams play zone defense against the Pacers in the preseason so far. And I think they're going to really be willing to do that all season long because without Halliburton, it's like, how are you going to beat a zone? Because shoot the basketball, let's see what they can do. And that's probably why Rick Carlisle went to a little bit of a smaller lineup with Obi Toppin at the 5 because of his ability to shoot and kind of like know where to get at in the spots in terms of like how they want to play. Because you can kind of like theoretically think of Jay Huff maybe fitting that spot of like the Miles 5, but no, like that's not what he is yet. So he's still figuring out where to fit on the court. But yeah, I just feel like this group in general with Jarace and whether he's playing with the starters or not, like getting Shepherd back is going to be huge. I mean, you talked about it last time, last segment. Getting him back is massive because he plays such good defense and he sprints to the corner so hard. And if he can hit his shots, like he's going to be super impactful for this team. And so you're just looking at all these different pieces that are going to have to step up, especially if Furphy's not ready to go, Q-Jax isn't ready to go. Like, you're going to really need someone to fill that spot. And what's crazy to me is like you look at that second unit and really the only thing that has changed if you get Shepherd back is you lost McConnell. And that's how much of a drop-off that group looks like without TJ. And it just goes to show you how important he is to this team and how much he means. So they're going to have to skate by, but man, I'm really hoping Payne can at least just get somewhat familiar with this system and this team over the next 2 weeks, basically. They were like 10 days because they play on Thursday against OKC, the 23rd. It's the 13th as we're recording this. So 10 days, more practice time, one more preseason game to maybe get his feet a little bit more wet and figure things out.
Yeah, I mean, at this point, we really don't have much of an option. Like, Indiana's not just going to bring in someone else at this point. It's campaign for nothing, right now. Like, they're not going to bring in someone and just not be able to play any games. It's like they got to try and make this work for now. And I think we saw him look a little bit better, like we said, but still a lot more to be desired. And I think Indiana is like trying to figure this out on the fly. And I know we knew that it's not going to come easy this year. It's not just going to be, this isn't the same Pacers that we're just going to come in there and be like, all right, we know everything to expect. We're dealing with some adversity this year. And I think that's classic Pacer basketball. Like, you're going to be doubted. You just got to overcome it. And I think for now, like, hey, let them sleep on us. You know what? Maybe it's not off to the greatest start by any means, but when the lights flicker on and the regular season starts and this starting five's out there playing together, it's a good starting five. It really is. You got to figure out the center spot. I wish I felt better about it going into the regular season, but it is what it is right now, and someone will step up. It just might not be on a consistent basis of knowing, hey, this is our guy every single night. Rick's going to have to try some new things on a hopefully not weekly basis, but definitely on a monthly basis of, you know what, hey, maybe it's someone else's turn tonight.
Facci, the schedule is not easy for the Pacers starting out either. We felt pretty decent about this group, but I think we would probably change how we view the Pacers' chances against some of these teams, knowing that TJ McConnell's not going to be playing for these games. But if you just say TJ McConnell isn't even back till November 9th when they're on the road against Golden State, which would be the start of a road trip where they'll play 3 games on the road. Actually, that'll be the second night of a back-to-back against Golden State after playing in Denver the night before. That's when Rick Carlisle said, ask him about TJ McConnell. So you look at these games. Thunder, Grizzlies, Timberwolves, Mavericks, Hawks, Warriors, Bucks. Got the Nets, then you got the Nuggets, then you got the Warriors. That's a lot of tough teams to face early on in the regular season without a backup point guard. Like, that's crazy.
No, it really is. And like you said November 8th is against Denver, and then the 9th at back-to-back, and then you still have 2 more away games. That's a hard stretch right there. It's going to be 4 straight away games. It's going to be rough, but we're going to figure things out. One thing I do want to point out, I think it was Sports Illustrated, that named Rick Carlisle. They voted him like the best coach in the league.
Yeah.
And I thought it was awesome. And I almost wanted to tweet that and say, like, hey guys, just remember this if things aren't going the right way. Like, I don't want people to be like, man, I don't know, Carlisle's in over his head or this, that. Like, there's going to be some bumps and bruises this season. But you know what? Just like trust Rick, trust this roster. This isn't our like last chance to make a run at anything like this. Like, we know that this is the figure it out type of year, but the Pacers are going to be a very competitive team that I'm still confident can, exceed expectations.
Yeah, they're going to have to win some of those key games early on. Like, you look at the Grizzlies on the road, like that's a game you probably feel like you have to win. At home against Atlanta on Halloween, that's a game you probably feel like you have to win. The game at home against Milwaukee, you probably feel, of course, the Nets game you got to win. So I'm just saying, if they can start even just like a couple games under 500 before they get TJ back, That'll be great, but I have zero confidence right now in what this second unit looks like, and it's been bad. And I'm not trying to be mean or like negative or anything like that, but everything I'm seeing from the second unit is just like, okay, if we can get Obi, Shepherd, and Walker to play with the starting five, like that's 8 I can trust in.
Yeah, I agree with that. I agree.
But I'm trusting in Ijax, which makes me nervous because
I'm not there. I'm not there. And
so
that's
you kind of have to take him out. So maybe you just say 7 that you trust.
I don't want to be that guy, but I remember when we had young Simba on here, we were coming up with trades, and like I think it was you or whatever that was trying to put Isaiah Jackson. I'm like, does anybody want Isaiah Jackson right now in a trade? Like, we don't know what he is coming off of this injury.
Fair point.
This might be something that takes a while, or maybe it just doesn't happen. Like, I don't know. Like, we can say this. Okay. From the preseason, it's been 3 games. Has he like shown a deeper bag offensively? Definitely not in my eyes. Like, I don't see like, oh, he's extended his range, or oh, look at him do this. Like, I'm not seeing that. So it's like, okay, now we're back to like, can he just be like a good physical defender that hopefully can get the fouls down? Like, I don't know. We're going to hope for that, but it's going to take time. And I would imagine he probably won't feel himself for quite a few months, but then we got to start to wonder, like, what is, quote, himself? Like, what is Isaiah Jackson now this deep into his career where, you know, like you hope to see progression? I don't know. It'll take time.
Yeah, and honestly, like there might be a case where you see all 3 centers play every single game.
It could be. It really could be where you're just like, someone figure it out. And I feel like that's how they say sometimes, like in the NFL or college football, when you have 2 quarterbacks, you don't have one, or anything of that sort. If you got 3 centers, sometimes you don't have one. And I think that it's preseason. We don't want to overreact. Like, there's going to be some big nights, but there's also probably going to be some scary nights where we go, wow, man, this is rough. Like, but at the same point, these centers, I feel like at least 2 of them in terms of Isaiah Jackson, Jay Huff, like they can be good defenders, you know, in this league. And I think that is something that Indiana has that opportunity to be a better defensive team. Just the scoring has got to come elsewhere. We obviously know there's not going to be a Miles Turner-like guy that can give you 15 each night, and maybe even on some nights 20 to 30, anything like that. It's going to be like, who can get me 10? Who can get 10? If someone can get 10, we might just be all right.
All right, Facci, I think that's going to be enough of our recap for tonight's game. I don't really want to dive into anything else too much. We still have plenty to talk about this week. I know tomorrow you will not be on the episode, but we got David Cole and Carson Stafford filling in for you, and then you and I will be back later this week, so that's going to be exciting to talk about everything going down with the Pacers. But before we wrap up today's episode, I just want to say, Tyrese Troll-iburton at his finest.
Like, this is like,
there's no seeming. It is what it is.
No, this is trolling. Like heavy trolling, though. I was listening to the broadcast, and they were like, you know, he's a Brewers fan, so it's kind of an interesting move. And I'm like, yeah, what? Like, that is a really interesting move to now you're actually rooting against your team in terms of the troll. Like, I've never seen that before. Like, so it's an interesting level of trolling. Yeah, what are your thoughts on it?
I think it's incredible. I think that Tyrese Halliburton is the true definition of a heel.
He's a bit heavy.
Tyrese Halliburton?
Yeah, I think so.
I mean, let's be honest. He's pissed because 2 years ago, he was scheduled to throw out the first pitch in the Brewers Stadium. I don't know what it's called, but he was scheduled to do that. And you know what happened? The Pacers beat the Bucks in the playoffs without Giannis in 2024. And they decided, you know what, it probably isn't a good idea to bring Tyrese Halliburton onto the mound to throw a first pitch in Milwaukee after they just beat the Bucks.
Interesting.
Which I do understand
I get it.
A little bit.
Yeah.
But like he's from Wisconsin.
He's from
Oshkosh.
Yeah. Exactly.
It's like okay, like even if he does get some boos, like it would be great television to have him out there. So you know what he said? Anybody but the Brewers. Anybody but Milwaukee. And you saw that video where that 5-minute video. Who was that guy that he did that video with? Did you see that?
I don't think so.
5-minute interviews? Oh, come on. You don't know what I'm talking about?
Was that like today or something? Or what
it was the last 2 days ago. Hold on a second. Let me see if I can find it because it was really funny. And it was, okay, I've got it right here. Sorry. Caleb Presley. You ever seen Caleb Presley?
Of course. Yes.
Yeah. I was totally blanking on his name, but It was all about the Halaban and nicknames and playing.
Yeah. No, I've seen that video before. Very, very interesting. Yeah.
It was 5 minutes and 7 seconds long. And him and Halliburton did an interview on Saturday, I think it was. It aired Sunday. And they were like, do you like Giannis? And he goes, he's all right.
Yeah. Like, hey, good answer. But I think for Halliburton, yeah, that's definitely very heel-like. Some say, what the helly? Maybe you say, what the healy? I don't know. Maybe.
I just said Tyrese Troll-iburton. It feels like you're kind of stealing what I just said there for your job.
Well, I'm playing off of it. That's why. But look, I think in this scenario, yeah, that's definitely some next level trolling. I think for Milwaukee, make it right. He's one of your own. Like, come on. It's like I wouldn't want. I don't know who was like an up and coming player from Indiana that Indiana would like turn on at this point. But just overall, interesting stuff. When I saw him with the Dodgers, I don't like the Dodgers. So when I saw like you're repping the Dodgers, there's something that just feels a little off about it. So clearly you could only be, trolling in that scenario. But good to see Tyrese supporting the team. Awesome. Like seen him at the preseason games. Like I said before, I know it's not an away game, but like, first in the beginning, he could have had every excuse to, hey, I'm going to be resting up at this. Like that man wants to be with his teammates at every single time. And you got to love that from your franchise guy.
Yeah, look, he had a Cubs jersey on Saturday when they were playing the Cubs in Game 5. Like, this is a guy that just clearly doesn't like Milwaukee, and I love it. I love that he
I'm here for
to his own hometown and wants to be the heel. Like, that's great. And like, it's so Tyrese to kind of like allow himself to be a storyline when he's not playing in the games. Like, he's just having fun, and like this is what he's loving. And so like when you see like Bucks Reddit and all these Bucks accounts saying you're a sad little man at Hallie and tagging him, and they're like all this stuff. Yeah. I think it's great. You know what Halliburton's probably doing? He's probably scrolling through and just laughing at everything.
Absolutely, 100%. He's looking through.
He doesn't care.
Yeah,
he likes it.
Kind of like them or respond to it, but he's definitely looking through it and getting some laughs and knowing that it's paying off or whatever you want to call it. It's getting under people's skin.
That's exactly what it is, and that's what Tyrese Halliburton does best. And that's why you got Tim Hardaway Sr. talking crap about him in the middle of the regular season last year.
Yep.
Oh, he's talking a lot of trash and he's not guarding anybody. It's like, okay, dude. Like,
Tim Hardaway. Hey, trying to stay relevant. That
is exactly the case. So anyway, this is going to wrap it up for today's episode. Really enjoyed the conversation. Obviously, Benn Mathurin is our player of the game.
No doubt.
How could he not be? I think the last 2 games have been pretty slam dunks for that, but overall, I liked how a lot of these guys played. So, Facci, where can people find you at on social media? Where can they find this podcast at?
Find me on Twitter @_FACCI. You can find our show at PacersPod STP on Twitter as well as Instagram. Alex, tell them where they can find you.
And you can find me at Alex Golden NBA. You can check out our YouTube page, youtube.com/Setting the Pace, a Pacers podcast. And if you've made it this far and you haven't already subscribed, what are you doing? Subscribe, hit the thumbs up button. Let us know what you guys think in the comment section below. And if you're listening on the audio side of things, please leave us a 5-star rating and review. It does help this podcast get out to other Pacer fans as they're searching for content. So with that being said, Facci, if you're up in the Pacers, you can get some good practice in this week and develop some more of that chemistry that they so desperately need, then hit me with those 3 words.
Let's go Pacers.
Setting the pace, going to the top. Setting the pace, going to the top. This is your #1 podcast. Sweeping every team. We gon' need a mop. Smooth.